Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I was about ready to quote my tweet saying that we were live, and I realized that I had forgotten to add us behind the scenes. It's been a long day. But anyway, chat, welcome. We are back after a brief hiatus to talk our personal top 10 lists of 2000. We finally hit the 2000s, basically.
Yeah,
we started, the 80s? Because the 70s were like... Or did we do the 70s? I can't remember because it's been so long.
No, we started with 1980, so we're actually starting our third decade.
Yeah. Which I don't think, at least I don't think we'll be going too far into. Because once a certain time frame hits in like the 2010s, shall we say, I'd be hard pressed to come up with 10 movies. I feel.
After 2015, it's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2000s have the 2000s have a lot of great stuff, and it's close to the 80s and 90s, I think.
Yeah, like the early 2000s was decent. I'm not like saying it's like it was like entirely shit or anything. I'm just saying once Hollywood, once it gets to a certain point in the 2010s where you definitely see the Hollywood shift.
Yeah,
I was not going to the movies nearly as much, and so I'd be hard pressed to come up with 10 movies from each year that I was like, oh, this is worth going on the list.
Yeah, maybe once we hit 2015, we can do like top 10 for the following 5 years.
Something like that. It's probably the only way I'm going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and then we'll have another one for the 20 to 25, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, chat, so it's 2000s. So my list was not quite as long for 2000, but then again, I left movies off the list because I'm like, I know I saw the movie, but I couldn't remember it well enough to say I will add it to the overall list.
I have a sneaking suspicion I know what your number one is, and I have a sneaking suspicion I'll ruin it fairly early.
Well, you can type it in the private chat, see if you're right. But anyway, welcome, chat, everyone. I'm going to say hello to everyone in short order. But for those who are just tuning in, who are new to this, nope, you're wrong.
Weird. I felt confident about that. Also, hey, both of us are using brand new computers today.
Yes, because we had part of the reason why we had a hiatus is because, well, my old PC pretty much crapped the bed.
No,
at least the graphics card did.
For fuck's sake, lady, you're supposed to lie.
No,
you're supposed to say that we both bought a new computer just for the chat, so we could do a better job, and then suggest that they give us the money back.
Well, speaking of, next Monday, I'm seriously considering doing my gaming streams, breaking down and doing the pay for the restream, so I could at least add the YouTube side for the gaming streams. Now, what game I play, if I break down and do this for starting Monday, I'm trying to come up with the game. I don't want to play Doom Eternal. So triple streaming, So triple streaming. I don't necessarily want to play Doom Eternal. When I say don't want to play Doom Eternal, I mean I don't want to start playing, continue playing it next week. I want to start playing a new game. And I'm seriously considering Silent Hill 2, since that Silent Hill F game is coming out in the near future. And Silent Hill 2 is on sale on Steam right now. 40% off. So I'm thinking if I break down and at least pay for 3 channels. Well, the Witchfire game, I think it's basically, I don't know if I might play that offline because that's it's a fun game to watch, but it feels like I don't think they're quite necessarily finished with that game. I think they'll be adding more stuff to it. I kind of want to wait and see.
You know what might be fun to watch?
Mm-hmm.
Alien Isolation.
I might start that over, but like put it through my Xbox. I think I was playing it through my PlayStation initially, and since I disconnected the PlayStation, since I have no real room, I'm gonna see if I can get it like through an Xbox, and then also add that as well. Yeah, Witchfire is like a fun game to watch, but yeah, it's like no real story. It's fun. It's fun to play, but it's more like an offline game.
Yeah. Also, I guess Dead Space, because that's gotten a remaster, and so has the first Alan Wake.
So
both are horror themed, right?
Yeah. So like I said, I'm going to be. Yeah, it's before I even started on Kick Tray, so it's been a while. It's been a while, so I'm gonna go through my Xbox, see if it's on Game Pass, download it, and like I said, I'm only considering Silent Hill 2 primarily because I do have it on my Steam wish list right now, rather than going through other possibilities. But also because Silent Hill F is coming out. When is it coming out? I gotta look at my wish list so fast. And I'm gonna say hello to the chat. It is coming out 9/25/2025. So I kind of want to start Silent Hill 2 before then. Well enough before then, so I'm not breaking my neck to finish Silent Hill 2 necessarily before Silent Hill F drops around the end of September. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing, chat. For my gaming streams moving forward, beginning Monday, doing triple streaming. So I'll be on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube, which is going to be interesting because I think I figured out how to do it through OBS. I think I have to create the event on YouTube and then connect to the event on OBS via my YouTube link on OBS. I might have to do a test, maybe Saturday, to see if it works. But there it is. But anyway, chat. Yeah, we are doing our personal. So for those again who are new to this, our top 10 lists are our personal top 10 lists. The movies themselves don't necessarily have to be great or anything like that. They don't even have to be even loved by everyone in the chat or everyone else, because I'm pretty sure there are movies I love that people think are shit, and vice versa. Pretty much, it's all dependent on the subjectivity of the taste in the eye of the beholder. Through a lot of fucking cliches there. But before I say hello to the chat, Stieg, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff. And I'm assuming you have a D20 ready.
I do indeed. It's a Witcher 1.
So
yeah.
It gives you better luck.
And people can find me here once per month, sometimes twice, if I'm awake for the weird thing.
So that's a stream where it's if I do it, I can do it by myself. So it's one of those where I'm just, if you're awake, great. I'm not trying to say otherwise, but it's one of those where it's I can just shoot the shit with the chat and go through articles.
Yeah, I'm just extra fluff for that one.
That's and that reminds me, I'd have to recreate the thumbnail for that because again, I lost pretty much everything, at least thumbnails and things like that. So I had to. You can see the thumbnail for this stream is different from previous ones because I had to create a whole new one. But anyway, chat. From the top, I see Trey. Ready for this discussion? Yeah. Gravy D, lurking. No worries. Mad Dog Conroy, hello. Yes, this is my PayPal. Well, so I'll pin that. But I also, for my mods, if you could also drop the Gronk Squad link, I'd appreciate it. Because that link... they're trying to reach 500 subs on that channel. There it is. Right. Mike Hill, what is up? Good to see you. Remember message from Jaluk. I'll be lurking and watching on the TV. No worries, Jaluk. Soul Assassin, hello. Started in the 80s. That's Calix, what is up? Yeah, this is my Twitch. So basically, again, when I stream next week, beginning next week, fingers crossed, I'll be triple streaming, at least the gaming streams. So, Keely, hello. Yeah, I'd say there was an attempt at doing original films.
A lot of adaptations at that time, too, if I remember correctly.
Making sure.
Plus, the superhero craze started.
Pretty much. Yep.
And
Jarrell, hello.
it started well.
Mhm.
A lot of them are better than the MCU movies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like this is the Alien Isolation. I played it on my PlayStation, so I'm going to basically put it onto my Xbox. Hopefully. JM, hello, and thank you, Trey. I also have to get another SSD. I want to get an Eternal one, and there's one I can get on what's it? Amazon. It's the same kind as the one I saw. Basically, offered through Meta PCs, and I'm not like Meta PCs, like they're great guys, but I'm probably gonna go the Amazon route because I can get a 2 terabyte one for it's like 114 something. And the guy from Meta PC, Drew, that I talked to, he's great. He sent an image of like where to put it in my PC, so should be able to pop it in, connect it, and then have 2 terabytes worth. So that way I can have more games from my Steam on my computer, or at least through that drive, versus like what I had to do before, where I had to really basically finagle the space. So I'm thinking about getting the 2 terabyte size one, Kingston brand.
Bigger is better.
Yeah, so
they'll help
with like game space, but that way. So like for example, if I have to, let's say, go through Game Pass on my PC for Alien Isolation rather than my Xbox, I'll have the space for it.
What I found out today? Mm-hmm. I just did a check on Amazon to see how badly the shipping to Norway is now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they already include the import taxes and stuff in it now. So I just did a sample, looked at a 6-inch Star Wars figure, right?
Yeah.
Which costs $29. The shipping to me from Amazon, $130. No, sorry, $1,300.
That's shipping insane.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of it too. So for something costing $29, shipping and import taxes, $1,300.
No,
that's like nuts. Yeah,
that's more than what I'm spending on paying off my new PC.
Yeah, that's just the shipping. I would also get customs fees on it when it arrives, which I think would be 35% of the shipping and the cost combined. So, yeah, when people say that socialism is good, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, chat, welcome. Hey, Ms. Marmuse, good to see you. So, for those who are new to tuning in, Stieg rolls a d20 to see who goes first.
I roll a d20 to see that you go first.
Well, typically that's where my luck is gone. But we'll see. But you're using Witcher die right now.
Yeah.
And I'll go 11 to 20.
11 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a natural fucking 20.
I'm lucky here, but I can't fucking win any lottery to save my life.
Yeah. Oh, heck, you should let me pick the numbers for you.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Man, fuck it. Let's do it.
Yes. And if you win, let's say you win 10 million, you're giving me 1.
All right. But I got to tell you, because I got to look and see how many numbers I think for, because for each the Powerball or the Mega Millions, you pick certain numbers and then it's what's it called? Like a Mega Ball or a Powerball, basically, where it's the extra number.
Yeah.
But anyway,
if you win more than $1,000, I get 10%.
All right.
That's fair.
Okay. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
To find a way to get it to you, because the Powerball and the Mega Millions is in the hundreds of millions right now.
Yeah. Just PayPal me 100 million.
Yeah, I'll just pay like
Just,
like 10% of that would be like say like 30 million. I'll just PayPal you 30 million.
yeah, just and then let me explain it to the fucking government.
Yeah,
How
that's what I'll do. It's like have fun.
Yeah,
Boom.
I just picked numbers, man.
Anyway, all right, my number 10 because we go from 10 to 1. My number 10. I included this because I think it's like a very, very, very visually stunning film. It is subtitled, so you do have to actually sit and pay attention to it. But it's basically from this movie on, you could definitely see like the influence in fight choreography and so forth, as well as parodies in other movies because of this film, and that is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I can't say too much about it because it's not exactly a complicated plot, but it is. I don't want to say too much necessarily because it might give some like certain things away. Yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was 2000. And
Trey's like one movie in, and he's already missed the year. Remember last time he did like 3 or 4 of them?
Yeah. I think it was like it like stuck around for a while. So like there was like I think a re-release in 2001, sort of situation. But like there was a release in 2000 basically. So anyway, it's one of those movies where it's like when it's like when it's like the first year of like the new either decade or millennia, it's very weird in terms of release. So, but anyway,
you know the stuff when they run from branch to branch in the trees?
Yeah.
A friend of mine tried that when drunk.
Oh my God.
From a rooftop into a tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No, not without wires and everything.
No, it really didn't work. He fell 2 stories down onto a lawn.
Oh my God. So, but like, I'm not trying necessarily to simplify the plot, but like I said, it is a little complicated, and I feel like if I like go a little bit too in depth into talking about it, I might give something away, basically. But it stars Chow Yun-fat, Michelle Yeoh, who was actually a strong female character without being a bitch. Yep. Zhang Zhang, I can't remember which order her name goes in, basically. And so forth. And basically the plot ultimately centers around this sought after sword called the Green Destiny. That's pretty much the core of this movie, is the Green Destiny, the sword that is going to be given to a certain character, and these other characters are trying to take it. They're trying to steal it. And Chow Yun-fat and Michelle Yeoh's characters, they have like this unrequited love between them. But the reason why they don't act on their feelings is because she was engaged to be married to another man whom was friends with Chow Yun-fat's character. And when that man died, both Chow Yun-fat and Michelle Yeoh's characters found it kind of bound by loyalty to not act on their feelings, and basically out of loyalty to the fallen friend and fallen fiance. That's like another element to the plot. So there is that. But the cinematography is amazing. The visual effects are incredible. It's practical effects with wires and like Sig said, jumping from branch to branch during the fight choreography. Fight choreography itself was incredible. No, Mike. And again, I'm really oversimplifying it, but like I said, I don't want to say too much because there's there's a lot of ins and outs, different plot points that are interwoven and interconnected and so forth. And I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much about this. Anyway, but I had to include it in the list, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Definitely see its influence, like I said, in films afterwards, basically in and fight choreography, as well as like parodying elements from this movie and so forth. Anyway, that's my number 10.
Well, my number 10 is this is a recommendation for Trey and you, actually. It's an animated movie, heavily R-rated. It's Heavy Metal 2000, starring the late great Julie Strain, voicing a character based on her looks. It's got Michael Ironside in it and Billy Idol. It's a cheesy, brutal, sexualized sci-fi movie. It's a babe with a chainsaw, sword, and a minigun. It's completely awesome. A lot of people claim that the first Heavy Metal movie is the best. It probably is, but this one has one continuing story.
Okay.
Completely based, very bloody, very yeah. There's a lot of good humor in it too. I mean, one of the character has a sex robot, as you would in. Well, heck, we're getting those now, aren't we?
Yeah.
They're about to crash their spaceship, and he just sticks the robot into his crotch and screams, "Set it to max." So it'll finish before they crash, but worth it. It's
Right.
like Trey said, it actually is really good.
Okay.
It's kind of like pulp-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Heavy Metal 2000, very rewatchable.
All right, I'll trust you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've heard about it, but I know I didn't see it.
Yeah, and badass female lead. Nobody complained.
Nope, nobody. Funny how nobody started to complain until 2016.
Yeah, the lead actress, Vinnie Art has met her at cons and stuff. He said she had a horse riding accident where she was 16 and really hurt her head, and she couldn't remember anything from. She couldn't remember her family, parents, or anything from before the accident. The memory was gone.
Damn.
And then later on, when she neared 50 years of age or something, the damage was getting worse, and she got dementia and sadly passed away.
So it affected her long-term memory.
I'm not sure, but
because there's short-term memory and there's long-term memory, and if you can't because there was one instance of this. Was he a composer? Can't remember, but he suffered from short-term memory loss, where he wouldn't remember the day before, but he could remember long-term stuff.
Yeah, well, she had one long-term memory loss.
Mm-hmm.
It was just gone. So
yeah, I'm saying so if you lose long-term memory, you're losing memories of your family, friends, basically your life.
Yeah, so she remembered everything from waking up in the hospital, but not anything from before that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyway, cool movie. And I was supposed to do number 9.
Yes.
I think this might be on your list, and I think it might be on definitely on Trey's list. Final Destination 1.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah.
You're actually only one off because I have that at number 8.
Yeah, well, basically, accident happened. Someone has a premonition of it, sees the accident happen, and then warns everyone and saves everyone, and then death starts killing them off in the right order afterwards.
Yeah,
really bizarre deaths as well. Fascinating to watch, really. It's actually well crafted, the different deaths, and it's foreshadowed big time. The lady who gets the dagger in her chest. Behind her, there's a dagger shaped mural thing on her door. Little things like that. So anyway, you can have a go at this one too if you wanna.
No, I'll say a little bit. My number 9. I don't know how many people have seen this movie. But it's a very interesting premise. If has anyone seen Nosferatu? I'm talking like, not like just the remake, but the original Nosferatu.
Yeah. Seen the original.
My number 9 is a movie called Shadow of the Vampire. And it's a fictionalized account, completely fictionalized account of the filming of Nosferatu. All right, it stars John Malkovich, Willem Dafoe, Cary Elwes, Eddie Izzard, Udo Kier. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Kier. And it's entirely fictionalized account. It's set in the 1920s. Because Nosferatu, came out in, I believe, 1929 or late 1920s, and there's a little twist to it. There is a little twist to it, but I think it's a very good movie. It's a very interesting premise. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend checking it out. Yeah, I'd call it like I would say it's like a darkish comedy. Shadow of the Vampire. Shadow of the Vampire stars John Malkovich, Willem Dafoe, Udo Kier, and the premise is okay. I don't want to say what the premise is, what the twist, what the premise is, because that's part of the twist. That is.
Ever noticed if you look at Willem Dafoe's IMDb page, IMDb page, and you look at the movies he's been in, and the sheer amount of awesome movies he's been in, the guy has quietly, under the radar, had probably the best career in Hollywood.
Yeah, it shows it's like when someone has actual talent, not just Hollywood looks. Yeah,
because he looks deranged.
Oh yeah.
Seems really nice though, but he looks fucking nuts.
I know. And range. He's talent and range.
Yeah.
Later played Norman Osborn. Yes. Basically, like Saul said, just watch and enjoy the movie. Because I don't want to say too much because there is a little bit of a twist. There is a little bit of a twist to the plot. But if you like Nosferatu, and you know of Nosferatu, I would recommend watching Shadow of the Vampire.
Also, wasted opportunity. Willem Dafoe should have played the Joker ages ago.
Yeah. So a little too late now, but unfortunately. But should have played the Joker. But there it is. Yeah, Shadow of the Vampire is my number 9. So, and I'm going to go real fast through my number 8 because it is Final Destination. So basically, Devon Sawa is the main character. He is going on a flight with his class. Basically, I think they're going on part of a field trip or a class trip or something like that. And he gets his premonition before the plane takes off that there's going to be an horrific accident and everyone on board is going to die. Basically, it's just going to happen and the plane is going to basically blow up on takeoff. So he freaks out, and during his freak out, he's escorted off the plane, and other students who get freaked out as well at what he is saying follow him. To include, I think the teacher. What's the actress's name? Right, and they exit the plane, and the thought is that they're going to take another flight, a later flight, so they can catch up with the class for the class trip. And lo and behold, the plane does exactly what Sawa's character said it would. It blows up, and everyone on board dies. But him and the other students, along with the teacher, left the plane, and that was not Death's design. So basically, this is the premise of the Final Destination movies. I cannot speak. As you cannot escape death. Death will come for you, and he'll be creative. And he'll be very creative. So basically, you you don't mess with death's design. If you're supposed to die, death will come for you. Oh yeah, and I started a whole franchise, which I have not seen 4 and 5. I've seen 1, 2, 3, and 6. And I think that's good. That's good enough.
Rest in peace, Tony Todd.
Yep. And like that, they had a plausible reason for his his character being the way he was.
Yeah.
In the movies, plausible reason. Hey, Daniel. So, well, you don't fuck with death. You just don't, basically. Like, yeah, death is coming for us, but if you're supposed to die at a certain point and you cheat death takes it personal.
Yeah.
Death takes it personal. So basically, like, that's the overarching premise of the Final Destination films. Death takes it personal when you cheat them.
Yeah. Daniel Stewart is right. 4 is the only really bad one.
Mm-hmm.
5 is watchable,
mm-hmm.
but it doesn't really add to it, though. But it's definitely worth a watch. But 1, 2, and 3 and the Bloodline one is probably, canon, if you want to call it that.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. And like I said, those are the ones I've seen. And the way Bloodlines ends, I'm like, okay, that has to be the end. That has to be the end. Because of like what they set up premise-wise in that movie. So yeah. I'm hoping, out of respect to Tony Todd, no more. They already announced that they shouldn't. Out of respect to Tony Todd, they shouldn't. Because he's supposed to be... I can't say anything.
Well, Hollywood and respect just doesn't go...
I know. Because he's supposed to be... There's something about his character that's supposed to be, per what he said, the way everything's set up, and there's no logical way. I know they'll find a way, but there's no logical way based on the plot that they would be able to do it. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, maybe if they said it before the events of 6, I don't know.
Also, this movie and actually the next 2 sequels are really well made for its time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I could maybe see this if they make a period piece, like set well before. But even then, it's like, I don't know, it'd be setting up another timeline of events. So I don't know.
The thing is, they could basically just do it with other incidents and other families.
Because I was like going to say, like, because they basically, the way Bloodlines is set up, it goes back to the originating event. And when did
one originating event?
I know, but I'm saying and from what we know, okay, so they could have said it in the 70s, basically. From what we know, basically, of like, the timeline that they showed, what death did.
Yeah, but they could still make a brand new story with other death events unrelated to this storyline, right?
I'm still of the opinion
they shouldn't, but they could, and they could make a case for it.
But anyway, that is like my number 8, Final Destination.
Yeah, my number 8 is a shit. I don't even know what to call it. Definitely, partially comedy. Oh brother, where art thou?
That's on my list.
Yeah, it's a take on the Odyssey, set in the 40s or 50s in the U.S.
No, not 40s. I think it's more like the 30s, closer to the 30s.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. George Clooney, John Turturro, and Tim Blake Nelson escaping. I guess it's a chain gang, and they're looking for a treasure. Yeah, basically, and they go on an odyssey. The John Goodman's character with an eye patch, that's the Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yeah. The women hitting on them by the river, that's the Sirens. Really good acting, very it's a very pleasant movie. I, you, you can almost have it as a family movie, can't you?
Oh, my family like loves it.
Yeah.
I'll say like like say more about it like when it gets because it's my number 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love it.
Yeah. Great cast, great acting, great chemistry between all of them. I still think Tim Blake Nelson does the best job in it.
It also has the actor who played the police chief in Super Troopers because it was one of his last movies.
Yeah.
Because he died at a fairly young age.
I think his name is James Morrison.
I'd have to look him up, but like this was one of his last movies. And he's in it as well.
Yeah. And cool music. You're gonna hate me for this, but I laughed my ass off when that cow got hit by the machine gun. Viking, I'm supposed to laugh at that stuff. I did, but anyway, I'll let you continue with it when you get there.
All right.
I guess. Well, is it my turn still?
Yeah, because you start number 7.
Yeah. Okay, because I did. Yeah. Okay. Number 7 is a thriller, and a damn good one. Is a supernatural thriller in a way. The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp and Lena Olin and Frank Langella. Johnny Depp plays a guy who verifies the originality of books and scripts for collectors and stuff like that. And he gets asked by Frank Langella to do that to what seems to be a satanic book, but it is part 1 out of 3. And others are trying to get the book from him. So it involves flat out Satanists wanting to get that book from him. Very cool, very almost like oppressive, because you know that he's constantly being hunted. So you get a little bit of paranoia there, and who can he trust, who can he trust, stuff like that. The supernatural element is kept in the fringes of the story. It pops up a bit more at the end, but lots of cool twists, really good acting, very rewatchable. Frank Langella in particular is fantastic in it. So
just wondering why it didn't show up in the list of 2000 films. Let me go back. I wouldn't have had it on my list, not because I don't like it or anything, but I'm just wondering why I didn't see it on the.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not on there. I checked 2001. It's not there. Should show up in 2000.
Oh shit! It shows up as 99 as well.
Yeah. So I was gonna say. That's another one because I was gonna say like it should show up on either one list. Let me check 1999 as well.
It says release date 2000, April 14th in Norway. So maybe that's what, or maybe it had a limited release.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, it was released in Spain and France in 99.
Yeah, but it should show up in 2000. Because I'm like doing Command F to find it, and it's like, it's not finding it either. In 1999, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was released in North America March 10th.
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering like why it didn't show up. Like I said, it would not have made my list either way. Not because I don't like it, but because I had to narrow it down to 10. It's just funny that I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. It's one of those movies that had a limited release in 2 countries.
Yeah.
then released everywhere else in 2000. But yeah. Anyway, the Ninth Gate. Well, you have seen it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Um,
It's like
definitely.
because I would say, as my mom, like like my parents pointed out, it's like the more like as the movie progresses, you start liking Johnny Depp's character more, but then you realize he's becoming a worse character.
Also, yeah, you like him, but he's also a fucking dick.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying it's like he's actually, if you like really pay attention to his character as you're liking him more,
Yeah.
he's getting like when I say getting worse as a character, it's like like I'm saying like he's being like not like not acting wise, but like just character wise, like he's not a
Yeah.
good person, but you
Yeah.
like him more.
Yeah, because Lena Olin sleeps with him
Mm-hmm.
under the impression that he will give her the book if she does it.
Yeah,
And then when they're done, he's like, "No, I'm not giving you the book."
yeah.
So yeah, worth a watch, worth a rewatch, and especially if you haven't seen it, this is
Mhm.
definitely something to put on.
Well, it might have been a film festival or limited release, but it should, like I said, should have shown up on the Wikipedia list I use because it was released in 2000. And it's not even showing up in 2001 or 2002, and I'm like, I know it wasn't then, so it's like was missed on the Wikipedia page.
Well, here's the thing: were you looking at American movies?
Yeah, American films released. List
Yeah,
of
that
American
there is
films
not.
released.
It's not an American movie.
It wasn't like American production company, wasn't it? Countries of origin: France, Spain, United States.
Yeah.
Artists and entertainment, that's American. Like, so. And it says, but it's
Seems
like, but it should still show up in 2000 if it was released in the United States.
Yeah, it
In
says
2000.
distributed by a French company and a Spanish company.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't. It's more of a European movie than an American one, I guess.
So either way. Anyway.
Actually, it makes complete sense because it's directed by Polanski, and he wasn't allowed into the U.S.
No, the shit.
Yeah, he's a shit.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so well, we got that figured out. So hey, Anthony. So that's your number 7, right?
Yeah.
All right. My
You
number
get-
7.
You get to do 7 and 6.
Yeah. So my number 7, I had to include this. It's a romantic comedy, and normally, even though it's not my taste, I do love the chemistry between Sandra Bullock and Michael Caine, basically. So I had to include Miss Congeniality because I think it is a genuinely funny film.
Yeah, I actually rewatched it recently.
Yeah. And Sandra Bullock is FBI agent Gracie Hart, and they through letters sent to them by this person who's going to place a it's like I don't want to say serial bomber basically, but they keep getting these letters like what this target is going to be, and they figure out it's going to be the Miss America pageant. And well, you can't there's no way to really figure out who the bomber is unless someone goes undercover. Yeah, she's actually a good character. She's it's a funny movie. She's just a strong female character without being a bitch, basically. So
really good Leslie Nielsen-ish comment in it, because one of the bimbos gets asked what a perfect date would be like.
Oh yeah,
and she goes, April 19th.
Yeah, it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Yeah,
but basically. Yeah, post speed 2, basically. So she has to go undercover because of the, I guess, FBI agents. Like, she's the only one who looks good in a swimsuit. Oh, she's a very good looking person, but she has no style or grace whatsoever. So bring in Michael Caine's character, who has basically trained, I guess, mentored previous pageant winners. So he's going to basically help beautify her so she is is believable as a Miss America contestant. Yeah, she's trying to figure out the identity of the individual who's going to detonate a bomb at the Miss America pageants. And at the, and all the while during as this is happening, she also kind of, I don't say comes into her own, but prior to that, she was very standoffish. She kept people at arm's length. Wasn't exactly she wasn't unfriendly necessarily, but she was very not exactly, she wasn't feminine. It's she didn't have girlfriends or anything like that, and yeah, she becomes more welcoming. She opens up. Basically, she actually becomes friends with some of the other contestants. And so, basically, and well, that's all I'm going to say, basically, because it's kind of a mystery and so forth that they're trying to solve. But at the same time, it's it's a comedy.
Also,
I don't think she hated everybody. She just didn't let anybody get close to her.
Yeah, and shout out to William Shatner, who's really good in this.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind the sequel. I don't think it was necessary though. Why can't I can't act. There it goes. StreamYard is being a fucking bitch right now. I didn't mind the sequel. It was fine. It was unnecessary, but it was fine. You don't really need to watch it. You don't really need to watch it.
I never watched it.
Yeah.
I thought it was unnecessary.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't watch it.
Yeah. They never made a third one. No, they never made a third one. So, and like I said, it's not a horrible movie, but you're not really missing anything if you don't watch it. See, just watch the first one. That's it. I believe it. I believe it. So yeah. Anyway, hey, Metal Mania. But anyway, that is my number 7, Miss Congeniality. And my number 6 is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? So I'm not going to go too much into it, basically, but it is very heavily inspired by the Odyssey. You can tell, with certain characters like John Goodman's the Cyclops, the group of women are sirens and so forth. And George Clooney, John Turturro, and Tim Blake Nelson are escaped convicts, and Clooney has persuaded the other two to join him in his breakout with the promise of a buried treasure that he's trying to get to. And he's also trying to get back home, which is very much reminiscent of the Odyssey, basically, where Odysseus is trying to return home and is waylaid constantly at various points in the journey, and it's what should be from point A to point B becomes a longer trip, but very comedically portrayed.
Also, Tim Blake Nelson and John Turturro play perfect retards.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite scenes is when they realize something. I'm not going to say what they realize, but Turturro's character is I had 2 weeks left on my sentence.
Yeah.
Now I won't get out until I'm 84 years old. They get caught again, and Tim Blake Nelson's I'll only be 82.
Yeah, so well acted too, because you can see that the vacant brain power in Turturro's face, and then it kind of lights up.
Yeah.
When he connects the dots.
When he connects the dots, that realization.
Yeah.
And I just love when Nelson's I'll only be 82. And he has this dopey smile on his face. And every time Clooney's character wakes up, he says my hair, because he's very picky, really anal about keeping his hair smoothed down with this hair wax.
Dapper Dan.
Yeah, Dapper Dan. So, but pretty much it's if you know the tale of the Odyssey, Homer's The Odyssey, you give of the plot. It's not a beat for beat of the Odyssey. It's very much inspired. the movie says based on the Odyssey, and I'm like, no, you're at most inspired by the Odyssey, but it's very much inspired by the Odyssey.
Also, fun scene when Clooney picks a fight with his girlfriend's new boyfriend, and it's like a skinny guy.
Yeah.
And the skinny guy just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, I know. I love that. I love when they're thrown out of like the Woolworths, and the guy has like this like like kind of like this lisp, and he goes like, "Stay out of the Woolworths," or like basically like Clooney's getting banned from going to the Woolworths department store.
Yeah, I agree with Trey. This is one of Clooney's best roles.
Yeah, it is one of his best roles. It's like one of his one of like the best comedies he's been in.
Yeah,
and like he works like he has like great chemistry with Turturro and Nelson, and basically all the cast has great chemistry. And like I said, I can't remember the actor's name. I gotta look him up. But the one who played the police chief, the actor who played the police chief in Super Troopers, this is one of his last roles, and he passed away not long after this film.
It has a heck of a lot of good face acting, because when Clooney's fighting with that skinny guy.
Mm-hmm.
The skinny guy gets the first hit in, you see Clooney realize that he's in trouble.
Yeah.
He does this little shake to try and shake it off, and it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. What's that actor's name? Where is he? Daniel Von Bargen.
Yeah.
Daniel Von Bargen. Come on. He's in this movie, and the Super Troopers came out like the year after, and he died 2015. He was only 64 years old. So
really underrated actor.
Yeah.
He, versatility galore.
So his last role was in 2009, so he died 6 years after that, basically. But like I said, he was only 64, so like so he wasn't that old when he passed away. I remember like I remember like when I read the news, I was like, holy shit. Because it came out like out of nowhere when like the news dropped that he had passed away. And what did it say he passed away from? Complications from diabetes. So,
which could be a lot of things.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is my number 6.
Yep. And I'd give that movie a solid 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm supposed to do 6 and 5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is where I probably ruin one of yours again. The Boondock Saints.
Yeah, not too far off.
Yeah. Basically, two brothers trained by their dad to administer justice.
Yeah.
Well,
kind of.
Yeah.
Not really trained, but they do administer justice.
Yeah, they kill people.
Yeah.
And they dish out some Catholic one-liners, I guess. As they
they say a prayer.
Yeah.
It's a prayer. It's a Catholic prayer.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe plays a gay police officer that's investigating it. He might be the best character in the movie. Especially when he sleeps with the gay guy, and the gay guy wants to cuddle afterwards, and Dafoe just goes, "What do you think? I'm a fucking FAG or whatever."
Well, he drops the F word.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you are. Just slept with him, man.
I know, but he's like one of those where it's like, it's not like he's ashamed of it necessarily, but it's like he's not effeminate. So it's like he doesn't do that cuddle stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Boondock Saints, Trey, we went over this. It was like official release in 2000, early 2000.
Yep. Anyway, Sean Patrick Flannery, and let's face it, one of his rare big roles. To be honest,
we talked about it in the last movie stream, Trey.
Yeah, we did.
Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus play I think it's like the term is fraternal twins. Like they were born at the same time, but they don't look like each other.
Yeah.
Or look the same.
Trey's having inner turmoil.
I'm just saying, like, we literally went over it to the last movie stream.
Yeah, I think Trey had it last time, and then he was told it was this year.
And I said I would accept it either year.
Yeah, we accept you, Trey, for who you are.
Oh my god, just continue.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but even you have to admit that the cat scene was hilarious.
It was a shock, I'll say. It was a shock.
Yeah.
The aftermath of it was hilarious, especially with their friend.
Yeah.
But the scene itself, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I skip over it.
No,
Yes,
you watched the cat, Mara. You watched it explode.
Nope. I skip over it. I know when it's coming.
Anyway, this is I'd say a cult classic.
Yeah, it's it was
because
popular.
I don't think it was a massive hit that earned billions of dollars, right?
No.
Just cult
No, I
following.
know I like Boondock Saints. I just skip over the cat scene. That's the scene I don't like. I just skip over the cat scene. But their friend Rocco, the aftermath of that, he's funny.
Oh hell yes.
Yeah.
And the guy with Tourette's that keeps cussing. The old guy, you could just see him build up and build up.
Yeah,
and
the
then
bartender who was in Fraggle Rock. So it's very, very different roles.
Oh yeah, he plays the guy who has the dog.
Yeah, he plays the guy who has a dog in Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
And he
Okay,
goes,
cool.
fuck ass.
Yeah.
They call him fuck ass because that's what he says.
Yeah. Oh shit, Daniel Stewart has never watched it. Go watch it. Seriously. It's an awesome movie. And yeah, it's a cult classic rather than a classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think like Catholic Church did not exactly like the fact that the brothers were Catholic and said a Catholic prayer before they committed murder, pretty much. But they were. I'll say this whenever I talk about it because that's at my number 4. So.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that though, and leave some meat for you, right?
Yeah. All right.
And I'm supposed to do 5.
Yep.
Well, probably started the superhero craze. I have X-Men, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine for the first time, and I think he has the record of having played a superhero for the most times on screen now. It's like 12 or 13 or something times he's played Wolverine. Nobody's played the same superhero in movies as many times as he has.
And chat, you're going to judge me, but X-Men did not make my list. Not because I don't like it, but I had to narrow it down to 10.
Yeah. Well, great cast. You have Ian McKellen as Magneto, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, both perfect casting, and they had great chemistry together and became lifelong friends after that as well.
I had to narrow it down to 10, and there were some movies that beat it.
Yeah, and Halle Berry as Storm, I thought that was perfect casting.
I like her casting. But another actress I think would have been physically better in the role of Storm, basically, because Storm is actually kind of like Amazonian in physique.
Yeah, she's tall.
And like it was Angela Bassett could have worked as
exactly the actress I thought of, but I thought she was maybe too old at that time. If they'd done
not at that time, no, she would have worked.
They had done it in the 90s, maybe.
No, it's like this is like 2000, so it's like she still would have worked.
Yeah. Okay.
Angela Bassett, it's like, when was she born? I'll go look that up.
Yeah, because Storm is supposed to be kind of like the classic African women because they have dignity, and they tend to be tall. But I still
She would have
thought,
been. She would have been 41, 42. So I mean, I don't think too old necessarily. At the
yeah,
so she could have pulled it off. I think she still would have looked younger than like her early 40s. So I think she would have passed.
yeah. Trey Courtney is right. She's supposed to be like a Black Wonder Woman in build.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And I'm saying like she would have been 41 in 1999 because she was born in 1958. So she would have been 41, 42, going on 42, and
yeah,
like
she actually looked younger too.
Yeah.
But anyway, Halle Berry is probably going to be the best Storm we'll ever have on screen because they're not. Well, look at who they're maybe casting now. It's that freaky skinny chick.
Well, I don't think they're. I think these are just like trolling rumors going around. I'm hoping.
Oh, maybe.
I think it's trolling rumors.
But anyway, this is I don't think it's too close to the source material, really. Even though I think Hugh Jackman is awesome as Wolverine.
Mhm.
Wolverine's supposed to be a short guy.
Yeah.
The Tom Hardy would be perfect, really. Because he's shorter and more stocky.
Yeah, I was gonna say this wrestler. If you don't know American wrestling, look up Jade Cargill.
Yeah, well, the look might be right, but they also need to be able to act.
One is if she gets acting lessons because like she can carry a story in wrestling. She is decent. Give her some more acting lessons. I think she'd be like perfect as Storm.
Yeah, which is probably why they'll never cast her.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, this is a fun, campy X-Men movie. It's definitely its own universe rather than the comics. Probably the X-Men movie that came closest to the source material was First Class.
A little bit closer, yeah, because it's definitely like the first X-Men movies definitely take liberties with the characters and the stories.
Yeah, yeah, X-Men very rewatchable. It's not the best X-Men movie, but it's a good start, I think, and better than most of the later MCU movies.
My two biggest criticisms for at least the first X-Men movie was I did not like Anna Paquin as Rogue.
No, me neither.
And while the black suits looks sleek for for the X-Men, I would preferred the actual colored suits that they have in the comics. If fucking anything, that we could see them at the end of the movie because it's so fucking dark.
Yeah, plus the Deadpool movie actually showed us that that yellow Wolverine suit would have worked.
It would have worked. The blue and yellow suit of Cyclops would have worked. The white suit of Storm definitely would have fucking worked.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
Storm should have had a black and white.
So, but still would have have the white in it, so she would have stood out. That's my biggest issues. That was probably my biggest issue with that movie.
Jean Grey as well should have had her green.
And they make an actual joke about it. It's would have preferred blue spandex or yellow spandex, and I'm like, yeah, I would have. I'd be able to fucking see what's happening at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, and Hugh Jackman though is kind of a dick in this because Professor X is explaining their powers and stuff. Yeah, he's called Cyclops because he the one glass eye, the beam thing. And then Hugh Jackman looks at Professor X and says, "What's your name? Wheels?"
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Hold on, I gotta take this call.
Yeah. Well, I'll yap with the chat. Trey Courtney's right. Ray Park was Toad. And would you agree if I said he was underused in it? You have a martial arts master, really, in that role, and all he does is spit goo. That's all they had him do. You know, Cyclops was wasted in these movies. Yes, definitely was. And Cyclops is supposed to be kind of a have leadership
Cyclops
skills.
gets Shaft. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's supposed to have leadership skills, and you never see it.
No, you never do. I'm saying like he's pretty much gotten the Shaft in the live action adaptations we've gotten.
Yeah, really good actor though. He started doing a lot more comedies since then, and he's great at it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So. Anyway, X-Men was my number 5.
Okay, my number 5 is it's a stop motion animated movie. It's from Aardman Studios. Aardman Studios, who's probably better known for the Wallace and Gromit shorts and films, and that is Chicken Run. I don't really know the casting, voice acting all that well, other than Mel Gibson, because it's like the casting is like ones I don't like, names I don't know well off the top of my head because I don't know the actors or actresses that well, basically. But I love Chicken Run because it's a love letter to classic prisoner of war films. No, there's Chicken Run, and then there's the sequel on Netflix. There's the sequel on Netflix, which is fine. Which is a fine sequel. It's called Dawn of the Nuggets. It's basically, obviously post Chicken Run, because Rocky and what's her name? The chicken that keeps trying to escape. Have a child, basically. So chickens can't fly. They think they try to. They think they can, and they believe they can because of the character that Mel Gibson voices, Rocky. And so never watched Doctor Who. So I'm like, I don't really know the voice actors or actresses that well outside of Mel Gibson for Chicken Run, basically. But like I said, it's a love letter to prisoner of war. Ginger, thank you. Ginger. I couldn't remember her name. But she's the one that keeps trying to escape. If anybody's seen like Great Escape, the scene where Steve McQueen is like bouncing this ball. Against the wall, like Ginger does it in one scene, like basically very much like an allusion to the Great Escape and so forth. But yeah, so like they want to escape because they're on a chicken farm, and the whole premise, up to a point, is like they have to lay eggs, and if they don't lay eggs, they become dinner. And then the evil wife of like the husband and wife who own the chicken farm decides, well, we'll probably make more money if we actually take our chicken farm and turn it from just eggs to making chicken pot pies. So a
little, segue or other. The Great Escape, right, is Donald Pleasence's first movie. He was part of the original Great Escape, the actual event. That is pretty twisted if you think about it. That's epic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a Scottish chicken. Yeah, so basically, basically kind of like, try to speed things along, and again, the whole point is that they're trying to escape this farm. And how they escape it is, I think, pretty brilliant. So like, Rocky promises them like, every egg he lays to get them to like steal shit for them, so they can to help with their escape. Maybe. Like the Great Escape is actually like has Richard Attenborough in it, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, a good number of like, well-known actors. Then so it's like, and it's very like it's a very good and at times poignant film to watch.
Yeah, the Great Escape is a classic.
So Chicken Run, like I said, it's a love letter to the classic POW war films. and so forth. And if you haven't seen it and you enjoy the Wallace and Gromit shorts and movies, I think you'll enjoy Chicken Run. The sequel is okay. The sequel is decent.
Never seen Chicken Run or Wallace and Gromit.
You should watch both.
Well, I just might.
Yep. So, like, you have Wallace and Gromit shorts, basically, like shorts, and then like there's some like movies which I think are good too. And then Chicken Run. So yeah, I think kids and adults can enjoy it because, like I said, kids will enjoy it because it's a kids movie. Basically, it's like humor that kids can follow. At the same time, adults who have seen the movies that Chicken Run is alluding to will get those jokes, get that humor. Anyway, yeah, that is my number 5, Chicken Run. Okay, my number 4 is Boondock Saints. I'm not going to go too much into this, basically, but sorry, Sean Patrick Flannery, Norman Reedus as these fraternal twins, Connor and Murphy McManus, and after surviving, not necessarily a hit, basically, but basically they beat up these Russians the night before, and the next day the Russians find them at their illegal apartment housing where they're staying, and attempt to kill one of the brothers. And in their attempt to kill one of the brothers, the Russians themselves are killed, and because the brothers survived that, they kind of take that as part of that as a whole, like a sign that they are almost like on a mission from God to implement justice on like truly bad individuals. Basically, like they don't just go after anyone like vigilante style. Basically, you have to be like the worst of the worst, and they'll go after you, like basically mafia, sexual, basically those who commit sexual assaults and so forth, PDFs and so forth. Is what like they go after. Basically, the ones that for some reason should be in jail, but like it's not for the easily offended. It's not for the easily offended. So yeah, and so they take it upon themselves to kind of implement that justice. They have a friend named Rocco who is like a low man on the totem pole in the mafia, the Italian mafia. And he has like an in a sense for the brothers because he has like lists of names and like everything. He has all the information, so it like he wants to help the brothers. You have Willem Dafoe, who's an FBI agent, brought in to help the local PD figure out who killed the Russians because they think maybe it was like another mob hit and so forth. And like I said, like Steve said, Willem Dafoe plays a gay FBI agent, which people watching this in 2000 didn't fucking care because that was not the central element to his character. He was actually a very good character. He was very smart, and he could see things that the local PD missed, like clues and so forth. And why the brothers left pennies on the eyes of the dead and so forth. And he's like starting to piece this stuff together. And at one point he actually thinks like, I know I'm supposed to be catching these guys, but he finds himself siding with the brothers and so forth. Very well done. Billy Connolly is also in it.
Isn't there a third one on the way?
Yeah, which I'm really hesitant about that, basically, because of how long it's been. Billy Connolly's in it. I don't want to say what character he plays because that's a little bit of a twist.
Yes, Flannery has done plastic. Flannery has done some kind of plastic stuff to his face.
I think he did some. Like you could tell there's some difference. But yeah, so it's all around good cast. Even the local PD, the guys on the local PD, I love their chemistry. I love their characters. They are funny and they're not totally inept, but it's you could tell that they are the kind of like the yang to Defoe's yin kind of a thing. Basically, where it's he's helping him, but at the same time, it's they work well together. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, again, that's the gist of the plot. That's the gist of the plot. I don't want to say too much because, like I said, there's a twist to Billy Connolly's character. Willem Dafoe is amazing in the role. The Catholic Church did not like it, did not like this movie, especially because the brothers do quote a Catholic prayer taught to them from childhood before they commit the vigilante justice. So the Catholic Church did not look favorably on this film, but it became a cult classic after it was released, and basically it was inspired by an event that the writer-director witnessed, like where he was living at one time, and he thought, it kind of spurred that, what if there was a vigilante justice movie where it's like these people did not get away with the shit they were doing, and so forth. But yeah, that is Boondock Saints, my number 4.
Yeah, Trey Courtney is saying Defoe still looks good. Yes, the guy is fit.
Yep. They're making part 3, and I don't know how I feel about that because of how long it's been since the second movie. The second movie was about 8 years or so after the first movie.
Yeah, and it sets up a sequel, so why the heck didn't that sequel happen sooner?
Yeah, it sets up a sequel, but now it's been 17 years.
Yeah,
since
and
number 2, so that's why I'm really hesitant.
Yeah, and the way it sets it up doesn't indicate that there should be 17 years until the next thing happens.
No. So yeah. But yeah, that is my number 4, Boondock Saints.
Yeah. Also, Flannery would have made a great Dash Rendar if Disney hadn't fucked up.
Yeah, he would
have. Anyway, I'm supposed to do 4.
Yeah, you're number 4, and then number 3.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have this one on their list. Pitch Black with Vin Diesel. It's the movie that probably put him on the map. Kind of, almost under the radar when it came out. But it swiftly got a cult following. Really well made movie on a low budget. It's got Claudia Black in it as well, and the superb Keith David, who has a knack for being in entertaining stuff. I mean, if you think about it, all the movies he's never in anything bad, is he?
Nope.
Tends to just show up in stuff that's really entertaining. But Prison Transport crashes on a planet, desert planet. Seems there's been a settlement there, and it's gone. And turns out there's beasties that show up when it's dark. Has to do with the planetary rotation and stuff. So the nights are really long. So you basically get a cycle of pitch black. That's when the beasties come out, and almost a bit alien-ish.
Yeah, I think Keith David's in it.
Oh yeah, well, he plays the.
My sister was just watching it recently.
Yeah, he plays the priest.
Yeah,
who keeps losing sons in that movie. This movie does not shy away from killing kids brutally. It's actually a monster movie when the monsters eat kids. Unlike Jurassic Park, where they almost get eaten all the time. But this is gritty. It was really fresh when it came out, I thought, and it spawned a franchise, but it's not taken off either. The first one is still easily the best.
Yeah.
Rewatchable as hell. Great soundtrack, all that stuff.
I would have loved to include Titan AE, but I had to narrow this list down to 10. I had quite a few movies to narrow down to 10 for 2000.
I almost put Titan AE on, but I realized I didn't like the fact that the ships and stuff were 3D animated,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else was 2D.
Mm.
It just looks really off, you know. But anyway, number 4 is Pitch Black.
Okay.
Number 3 is the second Clooney movie I have this year. It's The Perfect Storm.
Okay. I know I've seen that. I know I had seen that, but I did not remember it well enough for me to put it on the overall list. But I know I've seen that.
Yeah, based on a true story
Mm-hmm.
from well, it's not too long ago. It's the 80s, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's
And,
the 80s. Yeah, and I don't want to say too much, but
yeah,
I remember the overall plot, but not remember much of anything else.
yeah. Basically, a perfect storm did happen,
Mm-hmm.
and George Clooney's he plays a captain who does they catch swordfish, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been in a runt and might lose his ship and all that, but he convinces his crew to go out and do a you know let's try again.
Mm-hmm.
And they sail out way past where they usually go, and then the perfect storm hits. So it's a
Yep.
survival movie.
Mm-hmm.
Great cast. Mark Wahlberg is in it. Marion from Indiana Jones is in it.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, that actress.
Yeah, all kinds of famous people. John C. Reilly. Great drama survival movie. Some of the CGI look a bit off, but it's still,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Well, it's like 2000, so it's
yeah.
I don't think CGI is like really hadn't quite been perfected until
No.
like I think the 2010s, I would say, with some
Yeah.
exceptions.
Yeah, the acting sets it apart, I guess, because
Mhm.
it's damn well acted. And
John C. Reilly is actually a very good serious actor. Like he's one of the ones where it's like he can play both comedy and serious.
yeah, absolutely, he can. He just looks goofy.
Yeah.
But anyway, The Perfect Storm. If someone hasn't seen it, go watch it. It's great. It's a great movie.
I remember enjoying it, but like I said, I just didn't remember it well enough to say like, is it like, do I remember it well enough to put it on my top 10 list?
Yeah, and the thing. Well, here's the thing: if it's like ship movies, especially
Mhm.
like old stale ships and stuff like that, I'm all over it because I grew up on an island
Mm-hmm.
in the Atlantic. The whole area where the movie is set reminds me of home. It's not that different from Norway, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's just on the other side of the pond. Same ocean, right? So
Yeah.
if you're born on an island, the ocean is in your DNA. It's just the way it is.
I can see that.
But anyway, The Perfect Storm.
Mm-hmm. And you start number 3. Is that your number 3?
And that was my number 3.
Okay. I just want to make sure. My number 3 is it's a dark comedy. It's it's a black comedy based on a book of the same name from 1991 called American Psycho. And I know rumors have been going around that like they want to do another adaptation, basically a remake of American Psycho. I just don't see it happening. Mainly because I don't trust Hollywood or the studio writers to not insert current modern day political bullshit into the movie, basically. Right.
They actually just did that today with
Yeah.
a re-adaptation of The Running Man,
Mm-hmm.
and it's full of SJW checkpoints all over the fucking trailer.
Yeah, so I just don't trust current Hollywood. Yes, I know the movie American Psycho itself is based on a book. I just don't trust Hollywood to do the book justice or even a remake justice with the current atmosphere. I could be wrong because we're starting to see kind of a shift in the pop culture, but would it be drastic enough for this movie? I don't think so. But anyway, okay, stars Christian Bale, another Willem Dafoe movie. Forgot about that. Willem Dafoe, Jared Leto, and so forth. Basically, Christian Bale plays an investment banker in New York City who also leads a double life as a serial killer.
Well, technically not.
Well, it's like he's very psychopathic, basically.
Yeah, he's well. The thing is, he's just thinking it.
Yeah, but I'm saying but he does have that in his nature, which is why he's called American Psycho, basically. And he has that double life where he has those thoughts of like what he would do, and he actually does do one. Like he does commit.
There's nothing wrong with thinking about that before you fall asleep.
But he does do it. He does do it.
I do it for fucking entertainment before I fall asleep.
Oh, shut up. Anyway. Yeah, I'm saying it in the book. It hints that he's like may have killed a few. So it's like while the movie is ambiguous about that, like it's based on a book.
Yeah.
So it's kind of indicating that he has done it. He just hasn't been caught, and he doesn't do it that often. Because the axe scene is incredibly fucking iconic. What he does.
Bale is fantastic in this one.
And so, and as I said, that basically he comes from like a level of, not just envy, but narcissism. That's why I'm like, he's very psychopathic. Because like say all serial killers are psychopaths, but not all psychopaths are serial killers, basically. Because some psychopaths are just con artists. But he very much leans into the serial killer area. And like that he acts on, at least in the movie, he does act on what he wants to do to a certain individual. And basically leads a kind of a cat and mouse game with law enforcement. So
Christian Bale was advised not to take that role. Because he was told it was risky, it could damage his career and stuff like that. And he just said, no, I've never played anything like that. I want to do something I've never done. So he just went all in. And he was right. It didn't damage his career one bit.
No. And that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say too much about this movie. If you haven't seen it, see it. I'm going to go grab my dog and bring her in. So I'm going to go off camera real fast, but I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll yap with the chat. Anthony Way says it made his career. Yeah, it certainly boosted it. He had been in some fairly big stuff before, but he wasn't the lead. If you guys haven't seen a movie called Treasure Island from 1990, go watch it. Bailey actually is the lead in that one, but it also has Charlton Heston, Oliver Reed, Julian Glover, James Cosmo, Christopher Lee. Sick cast, and it's an adaptation of the Treasure Island novel, and they actually stick to the book almost 100%. It's probably the best adaptation of a book ever put on film. So,
all right,
movie tip for everyone: Treasure Island from 1990.
All right, but that's my number 3. So I don't want to say too much because if you haven't seen it, it's a dark comedy.
Yeah, and you're doing 2, or am I doing 2?
I start 2.
Yeah, and then I do 2 and 1, and then you do 1.
Yeah. All right, my number 2 is a Guy Ritchie film. I had to include it because I love this movie. There's really no one plot. There's kind of like a connecting plot thread, but this movie it doesn't go like A to B to C to D. It goes all over the fucking place. There's all these characters, and they're all seemingly unconnected storylines, but somehow through the connecting plot thread become connected, and that is Snatch. Yes. Snatch.
Yeah, still Guy Ritchie's best movie.
Yeah. Brad Pitt is in it. I remember when I first watched this, I didn't see it. Like, I don't know if it got a theatrical release or a wide theatrical release. when it came out. So I had to rent it, basically. I had to rent it, and I rented it and I watched it, and I had to turn subtitles on to understand what Brad Pitt was saying, because his character is supposed, like, he's playing the character perfectly, because the type, like, the how do I put it? He's like, what is he, like,
He's a
gypsy?
Yeah, which is gypsy-ish.
Gypsy-ish, basically. And
the way I watched
dialect.
the way I watched it was I was just sitting in the living room doing something, and my sister walks in and has the VHS. Go, hey, I bought this. Let's watch it. I'm like, holy shit! You picked a really good one. She had just bought it on a whim.
Yep. Oh yeah, Jason Statham's in it. He has some hair, not a lot, but he has some hair, and it's not an action movie, basically, because like he's not necessarily a bad character, but he's not exactly a good character either.
No, he's a bit of a thug.
Yeah, but like he's very enjoyable to watch in the movie. Yeah. And like I said, I had to put subtitles on for when Brad Pitt was speaking, because I could not understand a damn thing he was saying half the time. But like the more I watched it, the more I was like picking up on the dialect like he was using. Yeah. So I could understand what he was saying without subtitles. But yeah, it's like Vinnie Jones. It's where I learned that hey, if you want to get rid of a body, feed it to pigs, because they eat everything but the teeth. One of my favorite scenes in the movies was Vinnie Jones, where these like the two pawn store guys are trying to they're like, basically not holding up Vinnie Jones, basically, but they're like, they're using a fake gun on him. And Vinnie Jones, like, just without batting an eye, so, you have like replica stamped on your gun, and I have like, Desert Eagle .50 on mine. So he tells him to fuck off.
Yeah. I used to watch Vinnie Jones when he played football for Wimbledon. He's not acting in those. He actually was a thug. I think he has the record for the fastest red card. I think it was 3 minutes.
Yeah. So, Age Luke, yeah. But like he has a lot of actors and actresses, so like it's like that, like especially like ones that are like like he's like well known, even like still to this day. In it.
Yeah.
And like I said, like it's really not like I can't exactly, even trying to sum up the plot, I can't really do much of a summation, because it's seemingly unconnected events that are in a way connected, but there's no real good way of trying to explain it, because it's all over the place.
Yeah,
it's very much all over the place. So it's not like it's like I said, it's not linear. It's not like exactly a linear progression plot. It's kind of like Bullet Train, basically, where it's like it goes point like A to D, back to B, then all like to G, like it goes like this kind of thing. So you do have to kind of pay attention.
It's I think it's called a tapestry plot.
I guess so, but like I said, it's not linear, so it's not like it starts point A and it progresses like that way to point whatever. Yeah,
a lot of the plot points take place at the same time.
Yeah, so it goes back and forth, like it's like like while this was happening, this is happening, and while that's happening, this is happening. So it's like you have to pay attention.
Yeah, it's like Trace says, it probably took inspiration from Pulp Fiction.
Probably. So, but anyway, like that's my number 2 is Snatch.
Yeah, it's close to a 10 out of 10, that one. My number 2 is a fucking brutal movie, but it's awesome. Maybe very relevant today. In the US, it's The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson. It's a veteran of the Indian Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
And the war for independence happens, which
he is not exactly against, but he's not for it either, because he wants no more part of war.
Yeah,
like live his life.
Basically against all it will lead to.
Yeah.
For friends and family. And a lot of the youngsters don't realize what actually will happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they did not have good odds against the English.
No,
They-
and I will admit the French did help, but
Yeah.
we did not have good odds against England.
No, and basically guerrilla warfare was what won it. Jason Isaacs does a 10 out of 10 as an evil prick.
And he's
because
like, I think like he's like in real life, he's like a nice guy, but he does bad guys so well, like haughty bad guys very well. He was actually in the Tuxedo, where he actually played a good guy.
Yeah,
and it worked.
Yeah, and he's in Event Horizon. It doesn't play a bad guy there either. Plays a doctor, I think.
Yeah,
but he looks and sounds evil. It's as simple as that. He just,
There's a movie. I gotta look it up. There's a movie like he is brilliantly funny in. But I'll look it up.
It's like the guy who plays the villain in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
Same thing. Looks and sounds pure evil. I think he was in Rambo 2 as well as the villain. I keep forgetting his name though. Brilliant actor, but looks evil.
The Death of Stalin. The Death of Stalin. If you have not seen that, I recommend it. He is funny in that.
Yeah.
From 2017.
But anyway, The Patriot. Americans should watch that. Learn how their country came to be.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get a little bit of pride back into their DNA,
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, a lot of the themes in it are very much relevant today, especially.
Yeah.
And superb supporting cast in this movie. That they have a lot of character actors in it, and you get to see Mel Gibson go batshit crazy a few times, which is when he's at his best.
Yep.
I don't think anyone does the psycho rage quite as good as he does.
Mm-hmm.
But probably a 10 out of 10 movie, in my opinion. So anyway, that was my number 2.
Okay.
And my number 1 is probably everyone's number 1, Gladiator. Not yours, but most people who likes swords and stuff. Anyway, Gladiator skyrocketed Russell Crowe.
Pretty much.
And Joaquin Phoenix as well, who both do a 10 out of 10.
Not because I don't like the movie, because I had to narrow it down to 10.
Yeah. But it's freaking awesome on every level. Probably a perfect movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver Reed's last movie.
Yeah, he died while filming it.
Yeah. Do you know how he died?
I knew once, basically.
It's Oliver Reed was known for his drinking, and he's been drunk on live TV a few times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was at a pub and decided to challenge some sailors into a rum drinking contest and arm wrestling. So he had downed 2 full bottles of rum, then started arm wrestling with a big sailor guy, and his heart gave out.
Yeah.
Killed over. Died as he lived. Tremendously talented.
I'm Arabic, and if you try to equate Arabs and Persians, you will have them align themselves against you, because Arabs are not Persians and Persians are not Arabs.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The Persians are the ones with the flying carpets.
Oh, shut up.
The Arabs are on the ground. Yeah, camels versus flying carpets. That's how it is. He said racistly.
I don't care.
Yeah, well, more Z. Nah, I wasn't racist.
No, I'm saying like I don't really care. Basically,
Culturally,
I'm just saying like it's like I personally don't care, but like those who are of Persian descent, like they will like they do not like being called Arab because there is a difference.
I actually ran into an Arab who was moving into an apartment further up the street,
Mm-hmm.
and he was carrying a rolled up carpet. And he said hi and stuff, and I said, "Why are you carrying that? Don't they fly in by themselves?" And he thought it was funny, though. Very good and blah blah blah. So
No, I do not have a flying carpets.
people aren't as sensitive as
No.
the
No, like I said,
Ws.
I don't like most don't really care basically because
Yeah.
so, and
Well,
I love the Gladiator movie. Like again, I pointed this out in other streams, like historically inaccurate.
Yeah. Plus, you play
but-
D&D with me, so
Yeah.
you're completely hardened when it comes to offensive things now.
Oh yeah.
Toughened up.
And so I think like like I mean like not going into actual history necessarily, but like for one example, the gladiators weren't slaves. I mean like they were probably in like from enslaved groups, but gladiators themselves, they were rock stars in the Roman Empire. Like
Oh,
they
hell
like
yeah. Well, some were slaves because you have the whole Spartacus rebellion.
And I'm saying it's like somewhere from enslaved groups, necessarily like but for the most part, gladiators are pretty much the rock stars of the Roman Empire. Like they were the celebrities.
Yeah, they absolutely were celebrities, but also slaves.
Mm-hmm. So, but like they were like portrayed as like they were entirely mistreated by everyone, and I'm like, no, they weren't, not necessarily.
No, they were fed women and all kinds of stuff, and they ate well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't build muscle.
Yeah.
And those guys were deadly.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting was all they did, and yeah. But anyway, Gladiator, perfect movie. Did not need a sequel.
No, definitely did not need a sequels.
The sequel's basically just about the kid, and they just rehash the first story and switch the pieces around a bit. That's all they do.
Yeah, and they could have like. I'm not saying like that's would have changed my mind about it, basically, but the actor they got to play the older, like the adult of the kid. I'm like, why didn't you just get the guy who played the kid? Like he's still acting. Like he was recently in Glass, I believe. So I'm like,
all of a sudden, yeah, he had blonde hair, and then when he grew up, he has black hair.
Yeah, I'm like, really?
Yeah. Trey said that they wasted Denzel. I watched Gladiator 2.
Mm-hmm.
Denzel is the worst one in it. His acting is bad in it. Or rather, it's very subpar for him because he never dips below an 8 out of 10. In that one, it was weird. It was like he didn't care or something. He was tired.
Maybe he phoned it in. Like like the script is shit, so I'm not going to put an effort into it. I don't know. Actors have done that before.
Yeah.
Where they should be good, like he or she should be good, but they're like, yeah, the script is shit, so I'm not going to do much.
Yeah, and Pedro Pascal was in it because you can't do anything without him these days. So he was shoehorned in.
Yeah.
And it was fun to see him croak. But yeah, anyway, perfect movie that never should have had a sequel.
No, it's fine. It ends perfectly. Does not need a sequel.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, my number one. Well, actually, before I'm gonna recap my 10-2, and while I'm doing that, see if you can guess what my number one is. Chat. So my number beginning with 10: Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Shadow of the Vampire, Final Destination, Miss Congeniality, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Chicken Run, Boondock Saints, American Psycho, and Snatch. And yes, you're correct, Trey. My number one is Unbreakable.
Oh.
It's I would say my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film. It's when he actually gave a damn about putting out a good film.
Am I to list mine as well?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Then I'll go into Unbreakable.
Yeah. Number 10 was Heavy Metal 2000 for its cheesiness. Number 9 was Final Destination. Number 8 was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Number 7 was The Ninth Gate. Number 6 was The Boondock Saints. 5 was X-Men. 4 was Pitch Black. 3 was The Perfect Storm. 2 was The Patriot. And number 1 was Gladiator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like, I prefer Unbreakable over Signs, but Signs is like right up, like right just underneath Unbreakable. But anyway, Unbreakable. Basically, I personally think it's M. Night Shyamalan's best film. It stars Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson, and I think one of Samuel L. Jackson's best performances as, like, the character he plays. So Bruce Willis plays a character named David Dunn, who survives this horrific train wreck. Oh, shut up, Dave. Right? And throughout, like, the course of the movie, basically, it's kind of determined that he's pretty much, literally, as the title is, unbreakable, because he survived a lot. Like, he survived things that no normal human being should be able to survive. Well, on the opposite side is Samuel Jackson's character, Glass, who basically has that bone brittle disease. I can't remember what exactly it's called, but he's called Mr. Glass because, again, like, he breaks easily. But his character, because he was unable to do normal, normal physical activity, like, as a kid, he got into comic books, and he owned, like, his character owns a comic book store. And
also, when he falls down the stairs, painful to watch because he's gonna break stuff.
Yeah,
it's actually, some of those. Sometimes you'll almost feel the ouch.
Yeah, like I said, Samuel Jackson, I love Samuel Jackson, but he basically plays the same character in most of his movies. But in this movie, he was just, like, astounding, counter to Bruce Willis's character. And I was going to call him Glass, basically. I can't remember what his real name is, but Glass, he's trying to impart onto, like, David Dunn's character, that character, that's like, you're a superhero. Like, you're like the superheroes in these comic books. Like, you basically, essentially, you've survived things that no normal person should be able to survive. It's like, maybe, test that. Kind of test that, see if you have other abilities and so forth. And essentially the movie is, what if Superman was on Earth and he didn't know he was Superman? That's basically, if you think about the plot, it's like, what if Superman did not know he was Superman? Right? And it's like I said, I think, like, the kid who played, like, the kid actor who plays his son, Bruce Willis's son in this movie, I think he was the same kid in Gladiator, who reprises his role as David Dunn's son in Glass, which we will ignore. Like, I'd like to think Glass does not exist. But again, he's still acting, so he could have been in Gladiator 2 if you're going to go that route. And yeah, it's basically like a underrated superhero movie. Unbreakable is a superhero movie because David Dunn does have a weakness. Like superheroes does have a weakness. And it kind of ties into his past, which I think is, very well done. I think it's very well done. And he's able to kind of harness his abilities and kind of become a superhero. Yeah, Spencer Tree Clark, yeah. So I like to think that, Split exists in the same universe. Not exactly is connected to Unbreakable, but exists in the same universe as Unbreakable. But like I said, Glass does not exist. Glass does not exist to me. But yeah, that is my number one, Unbreakable. It's my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. I love Bruce Willis in it. I love Samuel L. Jackson in it. And like I said, it's a superhero movie where the superhero does not realize he's a superhero. He does have a weakness, and he actually becomes a hero. So, but anyway, That's my number one. That's my top 10. Our top 10 list of 2000 movies. Our personal top 10 2000 movies. And now I want to watch Unbreakable again. I love that movie.
I've never watched the sequels.
Well, there's no real sequel exactly to Unbreakable. Like Split is in the same universe and it does set up Glass. You can watch Splits, but just kind of like if you want to watch it, like watch it as its own movie, not necessarily like setting up Glass. Do not bother with Glass, in my opinion. Do not bother with Glass. I don't like it. I was pissed off at the ending. There are parts in the movie that did not make any sense. And this guy, when the movie ended, because I went to go see it with my mom and my sister, and there's this guy in the theater with us who stood up and said, "Fuck you, Shyamalan," when the movie ended. But you will not miss anything, in my opinion, if you do not watch Glass. So if you watch any of them, anything after Unbreakable, even remotely connected to Unbreakable, Splits. Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan refused more money. Like the studio was ready to throw more money at Shyamalan for like an actual ending to the movie, and he refused. Why? I don't know. But yeah, I love Unbreakable, and I want to rewatch it now that I'm talking about it. And Sixth Sense for me it's a good movie, but it does not have rewatchability.
Ever watch a movie called Black Snake Moan?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've seen that.
Jackson's fantastic in that one.
Oh yeah, he's like I said, when he's actually given something to do other than, hey, we want Samuel L. Jackson in a Samuel L. Jackson type role.
Yeah,
he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah,
it's just like most times Hollywood cast him because, hey, we want Samuel L. Jackson to play himself.
He's also the highest grossing actor in Hollywood history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a very good actor. Like when he's given actually something to do, like to
that actually shoots down a lot of SJW arguments.
Yeah. Yeah, but like Sixth Sense, it's a very good movie if you first watch it, but then like it doesn't have rewatchability because once you know the twist, it's like, well, okay. It does lose that rewatchability in my opinion. Where Unbreakable, yeah, you do know the twist, but like I said, I love like the premise it sets up. So, oh yeah, he's great in Django too.
Oh hell yes! Well, not just that one, The Hateful Eight.
Mm-hmm. So it's, I guess, like I said, again, when Hollywood stops, like it's like gives him a role where Hollywood is not coming from kind of like a racist standpoint of like, yeah, we want you to play himself. We want you to play yourself. We want you to play this caricature of yourself. He is one of the best actors working.
Yeah. Coach Carter as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm saying where it's not him just saying motherfucker.
Yeah. You know what?
Hey, Vader Fanatic, hope you enjoyed the replay because
I think he would have possibly gotten more Oscar chances and all that if he had not done superhero movies and done serious roles rather instead.
Mm-hmm. Probably. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, those are our personal top 10 films from 2000. Again, Vader Fanatic, hope you enjoyed the replay. Good to see you.
Yeah, 2001 is going to be fantastic too. And I guarantee you we will have the same number one movie that year.
Oh, yeah. I know. 2002 and 2003.
Maybe not 2002.
Well, we'll see.
But 2001 and 2003, most likely.
Most likely. Anybody who knows me will can figure out what they are.
Yeah, I mean, we have a nice fellowship in the chat, so maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe it'll ring a bell.
Yeah. So I think they can figure it out. Yeah. I won't be the bearer of any bad news.
Oh, excellent one. You just went there and back again, didn't you?
Yes, like obviously. Anyway. But
That
yeah,
was
so
like an unexpected party of a joke, wasn't it?
so yeah, but I'm pretty sure you guys can at least figure it out. So I just have to make sure that Steph actually like has checked her PO box, Riley Dave, because I let her know. I let her know on Talk Nerdy stream, so hopefully she's checked it by now. But I'll try to message her and find out and see when she's going to send it. But appreciate it. But anyway, so I might do a worldwide weird stream next week, chat. I don't know, but like I said, next week I'm hoping to triple stream gaming streams moving forward, beginning next week. Beginning, I should say, next Monday, possibly with Silent Hill 2 because Silent Hill F drops 9/25 this year, so around the end of September, and I want to like get Silent Hill 2 in moving forward.
Did you like the Silent Hill movies? I've never played the games, so I'm a normie.
I saw the movies first, so I was a complete normie. I remember enjoying the first one. It was very dark and very graphic in one scene. The second one was
Second one has Sean Bean not dying.
Yeah, I was like, it definitely did not need a sequel. I don't think. And I've only seen 2 of the. I don't know if there's any more than 2 Silent Hill movies. But I've only seen 2. So if that's all there is, then I like the first one, and I'm fine with not watching the second one. Yeah. But I haven't played the first Silent Hill game. I will admit that, but I can't find it on Steam. I don't know if it's on.
Wondering if it's actually a good video game movie.
From what I know, when the first Silent Hill movie dropped, because I knew a guy who knew the game, and I think as an adaptation of the game, I don't think it was good. Like I don't think he liked it as an adaptation of the game. But as like a video game horror movie, it was good. So it's like, not exactly a good adaptation, like, of the game, but movie-wise, good.
I was talking to someone about video game movies the other day, and the conclusion was Prince of Persia and Hitman are actually fairly good adaptations of video games.
Okay.
But then it dwindles fast.
All right, so the second one is, second one you can do without. Just watch the first one. The first one is decent. Like I said, but I'm coming in from a complete normie, so I have no idea, like, adaptation-wise, if it's good or not. Because I haven't played the first game. At some point I will, but like right now I'll be like breaking down and buying Silent Hill 2 and playing that.
Oh, Mario movie. Oh, you need to tell a D&D story sometime soon, Maura.
Tomorrow, because I do that on my gaming streams when it's like just me. So
Trey Courtney's gonna shit himself.
Yeah, I will talk about like the one that happened this past Sunday.
Like scarred the fuck.
So what I said earlier in the chat or earlier in the stream chat is like, if you just missed it, that I might do a test. I'm like, like with Restream, I might do a test of sorts this coming Saturday. So if I go live, it's not really going to be an official live stream. It's just going to be to make sure, hey, this works. This triple streaming works kind of a thing. Because I want to stream on YouTube and Kick and Twitch when I do my gaming streams. I just have to figure out OBS. And if I figure out that, then we'll be good to go, basically. Because I want to be able to set up and YouTube, like the YouTube side with an actual thumbnail versus just like hitting go live, basically. I mean, I can always go back and add a thumbnail if necessary, but I want to just run a test. They're remaking the first game. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Like I said, I haven't played the original, so.
The gaming industry is relying heavily on remasters now. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Neverwinter Nights 2 is getting a remaster. A really good D&D game. It's just the same edition we do.
All right, but I gotta kind of wrap this up because it's 10 p.m. and I gotta wash up and go to sleep. So I'll be waking up fairly early tomorrow. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I might do Worldwide Weird next week. I don't know, but we'll see. But like I said, I'm going to introduce triple streaming possibly next week. And like going from Doom the Dark Ages to Silent Hill 2 for that. So I'm not starting the triple streaming right in the middle of playing another game. Then the reading stream on Tuesday, Talk Nerdy to Us, will be on my channel this coming Sunday. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you all tomorrow for Doom the Dark Ages. Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.